funny friends, my funny friends, my funky friends now. My funny friends, my funny friends, my funky friends now.
Starring Drew Harrison and Will Abeles.
And we're back with another episode of My Funny Friends. We're on episode 32 now. Look at that.
Oh my God.
Look at that.
Still
Fucking
younger than
off-
us. It's still younger.
I'm fucking offended.
Yeah.
I should have said the number with the guess. My bad. My bad.
Yeah. Big mistake. I'll see you guys. Have a good day.
We're on episode 254.
This is, wow, our 300th episode.
The last comedian in Nashville that we could get to do the podcast.
If it makes you feel any better, you're number 3.
That means a lot, guys.
We haven't even introduced you yet. Shut
if
up
this
and let
was
us
Nashville
introduce the show.
scene, you would have gotten an article. Okay.
All right, I'll
Look
pipe
at this.
down.
But we're back, part of the Project Nerd podcast family. So we're happy to be a part of that and happy to be here. And I'm happy to be joined by my co-host, the lovely, in another location, always traveling, Will Abeles.
I traveled all the way across East Nashville from North 15th Street to South 15th Street.
Do you just ask people now, like, hey, I need a new backdrop for this podcast. Can I just come to your house? And
Yeah, I do. Because otherwise people find out I'm sleeping in my broken car. And then
I feel like with that mustache, you could get into any house in East Nashville, and they're just like, "Yeah, it's the dude."
Yeah,
that
come
lives
on
here.
because of Movember right now, there is a massive influx of mustaches in East Nashville.
I thought that you already had to have a mustache to live in East Nashville. What do you mean
Or a
it's
beard.
growing?
Or a beard or a trust fund.
I went
Those
to
three
the
things.
Ryman last night, and man, the people watching was.
No, it's a good spot to
We got
people watch.
some characters in Nashville, man. But
You guys gonna intro me? Or
I was about to say, Will, you gonna
Listen,
take it away?
we like to do 45 minutes and then we introduce you.
Jesus Christ!
Yeah, it's a 6.5 hour
I got
podcast.
shit to do today, guys. What
Dude,
the
your
fuck?
representatives let you down by booking you on this. I'm just letting you know.
Yeah. Well, so I guess am I introducing him? I'm introducing him.
We
So,
just went over
I could fucking do it myself at this
This
point. I mean,
no, this man. When I first visited Nashville in November of 20,
you're gonna make
20.
me cry, dude.
I visit
I'm already tearing up.
Nashville and I get booked at the Comedy Bar, which ironically is like the only time I did the Comedy Bar.
RIP.
But I'm sitting there watching
Rest
the
in
show.
pizza. Sorry.
Rest in pizza. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm sitting there watching the show, brand new, and debating if I'm going to move here. And I see a man on stage, and I text our dear friend Kaylee Harmon of Dewey Comedy, and I say, "Who's this Guido motherfucker?" And moments later, we're sitting at the bar, and he's being just so welcoming, so kind. And was one of the reasons I wanted to move here because I thought, you know what, there's probably nice people in Nashville in this scene, and I may be wrong, I may be right, but he's one of my favorites here in town. Corey Knox, everyone.
Thank you. Oh God, it's funny
The crowd
that
erupts.
it's funny that happened because, like, fast forward 2 years later, if that same scenario happens, I'm just not talking to you. I'm just a mean motherfucker. I'm just being real.
I know,
you
we've
know?
all just gotten like so jaded
All
now.
been
that we're
hardened
just
from comedy. No, I love it, dude. Like, he was such the nicest person. It's great.
oh, someone new's coming in town? Someone new's in town. Yeah.
Like, was no. I still try and be cool to people.
you got in before we hit our
yeah.
quota. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, no
I
more.
did. I snuck right in, and then they were like, I'm going to kick you out anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, those comedy bar days, man. Those were something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they tried to come back, but
Yeah,
here we are. Anyway, Corey, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you guys for having me. I know
course,
I've been
man.
talking
Thanks.
shit for the
we
first
wouldn't
10
have
minutes,
it any
but
other way.
yeah, that's just
Yeah.
kind of what I'm probably what I'll do. You guys know, but yeah, I'm doing good. I'm coming off a little bit of a sickness here, but I feel good. I feel recharged. I've just been sleeping and eating food and just, not moving, so I feel great.
Oh yeah, excellent. That's
Yeah.
great.
Drew
We'd love to
Harrison
hear
way
that.
to live. I like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's good.
How are you guys?
Not
How are you
moving,
guys doing?
eating
Yeah,
food.
eating food. Yeah. You
Doing
guys
great,
get
man. Having a good day out here. It's cloudy, but not cloudy enough to make you depressed. So it's nice.
right.
Yeah, it's a good election day. It's a good election
Oh
day.
yeah, happy
Oh,
election
politics
day,
already.
everybody.
Here we go.
I'm just saying it's a good election. That's all I'm saying. It's a good.
Yeah.
Look at
good
this
day
guy.
to
This
go.
guy. Look, he had to say something because this dude made the Instagram vote page. His reels on the vote Instagram thing.
This is actually I opened up Instagram like maybe 15 minutes ago, and I got a DM from a reporter
Yeah.
being like, "Hey, I just saw your thing, and I just want to like let you know I've been researching this and blah blah." And I was like, "I already voted. Like it's done." But
Don't try to change
Shit.
yeah, but then I looked because I thought they were gonna be like, "Hey, like we ask you about the polls or something," but they just
No,
were
they're
like,
trying to change your mind. It's politics.
yeah, they just
bro.
were like, yeah, well, they basically told me like how to vote, and I was
Yeah.
like, well, I already voted, and I basically voted the way you just told me to, but also you have 200 followers. What kind of reporter are you? Like, what's happening? I was
Yeah.
like a little bit like this is interesting, but yeah,
Yeah. There's a fine line between these political operative people that are trying to text you and talk to you and Jehovah's Witnesses. They're like kind of the same people,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they switched careers.
Yeah. I've just been sending to the if I get a text messages from like a political party, I've been sending dick pics back.
Yeah.
Just
Oh,
straight
good
up.
for
Just
you.
doing
Way
it,
to go.
yeah.
I
Hell
wish
yeah.
I had the confidence, I
Yeah.
haven't been.
Well, I don't,
Until-
but I'm doing it anyways. I don't really care.
Well, Will's trying to posture up to be the face of the Republican National Convention. If he's bummed it didn't come to Nashville, like he was shooting for.
I mean, I could see it.
What? I mean,
I could
honestly,
see
I wouldn't mind like infiltrating from the inside and then like finding out like maybe this is my calling. Like,
What if you could fill your calendar today, but it was all like Republican appearances?
it would
But
just
they're,
be like
they're,
me.
they're paying you.
Yeah, it'd be like me and Cliff Cash like having debates,
Yes.
but I don't know anything, so I just act as insane as like anyone running for the Republican ticket
yeah.
anyway.
All right. Enough politics. I hate it.
Got it out of
so
the way
much.
early.
Yeah, Corey. We always like to start. What year and where did you start stand-up comedy?
Oh my God. Well, I started right here in Nashville, Tennessee. I think I'd been writing for a while. Like I say that like I'm some prolific writer, but I just started writing. I started writing shit down like a long time, like early college. I was like, I think that's funny. I'll just put it in the notes or I'll write it down. And I did that for like 4 years, and then I lost my phone. And I had all these funny ideas that I lost, like just straight up lost. So I think that was like the start of me thinking about getting into comedy. And then
the heartbreak of that.
Oh yeah, I was like, that's hilarious. I'm gonna pursue this thing that clearly the universe is telling me not to do. And, it's just like I remember I think I showed all my notes to this girl I was talking to one time in college, and she just didn't think any of it was funny. And I'm like, oh fuck.
Like, I appreciate your support.
Yeah. So I think that's when I like started to think about it. And then I moved to Nashville, and I just got dared to just like every shithead, I got dared to do an open mic. I knew I always wanted to do it.
Oh, no way.
But yeah, I just did an open mic at Dee's Country Cocktail Lounge when Micah Wyman was still doing it. She hosted that thing forever, and it was a cool room. It was weird. It was loud. It was awkward. But if you could like kind of get people to laugh, it was one of those rooms like if you got people paying attention, you did all right. My first time up, I just was fucking hammered, and I did okay, and people at least paid attention. And then I just got made fun of for being the Guido from New York for like the next like 5 months, and that's just basically how it started.
I guess what I'm interested in, like, so did you just like have this kind of interest, like you would watch comedy, like you'd watch stand up and be like, I wonder if I could do that, and then you just kind of sort of writing the notes, or was it just sort of like it's, just like you just casually did that as like, just for whatever?
I think my whole family is very funny. Like we have it's a bunch of sarcastic Polish and Italian people. Like I'm half Polish. I'm 50% Italian, 50% Polish. So what I say is I don't know why I'm this cocky. Basically, I can't remember why I'm this cocky because I'm stupid. And so I think just growing up watching that and like just having these characters and personas around me my whole life, like I just absorbed a lot of that, and also had a lot of just crazy shit happen as being younger, and just dealing with that. We always dealt with it with humor, and we always laughed it off. So I think I saw that as like a powerful tool to get through life at a young age. And I know that's like a cheesy thing to be like, oh well, but it's like that's really what it was. It was a mechanism to kind of navigate through life. And I think I always wanted to do it. I just didn't know what time in life would be. And then, my life ended up being pretty wild at one point, and it seemed like the right time to jump into some stand-up comedy.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
some stories. So
that kind of leads into my next question: is were you a funny kid? Like, did you go to school to try to cut up and like make kids around you laugh? Like,
yeah, I think I was quiet, but I think I was always the person that like would have a comment, something that people weren't quite thinking of, that I would just launch and it would kind of make everyone laugh. And I think around my close group of friends, I was more like, I don't know, I would talk shit, and I would say the wild, stupid shit that no one else would say to get people laughing. But I wasn't like I mean, none of us were like class clowns. I wouldn't go into school and be a jackass. I would sit there, and then if there was a funny thing that could be said and no one was saying it and it was quiet, I would say it.
yeah.
So that's basically how I was. Yeah.
That little one liner when everything's gotten quiet that makes
crowd
erupt.
Those are the moments I live for. I'd be like, I don't need to be doing fucking backflips and pantsing people and fucking shaving my eyebrows off and being a dickhead. Like that's what a lot of kids were doing. All of the kids I went to high school with, they were so stupid.
We all went to school during that jackass phase where everyone had to be punch people in the face. And I don't know about y'all, but sack tagging was huge when I was in high school. Like,
people used to
sack tagging,
stupid, so stupid.
People used to book people. They used to knock their books down and be like, do shit like that. And I was
one of my best friends did that to me in college. I had 10 minutes to get a paper that I already got an extension on to my professor, and I'm sitting there proofreading it in the elevator, and he's an idiot and just hits my paper, and I held on to the two pieces, and the rest, and I was just like, I have 10 minutes to turn that in, bro. Like,
yeah,
wow,
that's bullshit. Go ahead.
Well, I always found like smacking people's food trays into the air was funny, but I wouldn't do it I would do it like on their way to the trash, like they were done eating.
Look at this bully right here. Will Abel's the high school bully.
What the fuck, man?
I only bullied the bullies.
Could you imagine getting bullied by Will?
That's what they said. Fuck. They were just like, "What's happening here?
What is going on?"
Like, I'm gonna kill you.
I was too fast and wiry for them to catch me.
Okay.
It's like videos of. Do you see those videos of cats like intimidating like alligators and crocodiles and
that was
fucking huge animals? That's Will. They're like, what the fuck?
Now, Corey, I know you played some sports growing up too. That was serious time.
Yeah, I knew I wasn't going to get like financial aid or not financial aid, but I wasn't going to be getting like a ton of money to go to college. I was like, I got to fucking figure out a way to get some money for college. And it's not happening through these. So we'll fucking use the body. And that's what I did. So I was real focused on, I mean, I would have fun in the locker rooms, but I was more focused on trying to get better and play. But I think my senior year in college, we did every freshman had to do your talent. It was like a talent show, and the whole fucking team sat there in the biggest meeting room, and like all the coaches were there and shit. And you just had to go up in front of the whole fucking class and just make people laugh. And or do something or play something. I didn't have shit. So I did an impersonation of Billy Fusello. I don't know if you guys know who Billy Fusello is. He's like a really big like car salesman in Buffalo, and he's got a very distinct voice and he's got a very distinct pitch, and it is fucking wild that this guy's even allowed to be on TV. And
you went to college in Buffalo, so I'm sure that hit.
Yeah, everyone knew what I was doing, and I did like an exact impersonation of him for like 4 minutes, and everyone was fucking rolling. So like I was like, I knew I could do something like that. And then when I was playing rugby in England, we did the same thing. They had a little talent show thing, and I did impersonations. We had guys from every single continent on our squad. It was made up of all different people from all over the place. So we had Jamaicans, we had guys from England, we had guys from Australia, we had guys from Canada, we had guys from all over the place. So I did my best impersonation of each guy that I could do in like a story thing, and they fucking loved it.
That's fantastic.
And then I was like, all right, I could kind of do something like this maybe.
Now, how did the rugby overseas come about? Like I know you're on the football path. Like how did that opportunity arise?
So when I got released from playing football, I had a couple people reach out to me about like, what do you do next? Like if you don't get re-signed by another team. I was supposed to go and play arena football for the San Jose SaberCats, but the league folded the year that I was cut from the Bills. Anyways, whatever. Probably a good thing now looking back at it. There was a rugby team from Toronto that was interested in recruiting American football players. The WWE had not reached out, but like one of their scouts was like, "We think you could come and maybe do a workout and
That
trial
would have
and see."
been crazy.
Yeah. So initially I went with the rugby thing because I was like, well, I'll still be able to compete and play sports. And basically they wanted to do a global search for talent for their team. And they wanted to make a show about it. And that's basically what they did. They filmed the whole thing. They never really released it, but they had a whole thing called The Last Tackle, and it was really cool. And I was a part of that. So
and this was in Toronto?
it was in Toronto, but the whole thing is it's called the Toronto Wolfpack. They play transatlantic. So they play overseas. They're the only team that goes back and forth. And I was being recruited to play on that team.
Hell yeah.
God, that sounds exhausting.
You got to be under like a reality sports show. Well,
that's what they tried to do, to kind of build up the fan base of the team in North America. So I was one of the guys that they picked after doing like 10 weeks of trials. They basically selected a handful of people to go over to England, and So
did you like England? Like, did you like the country and culture and stuff over there?
No, absolutely not. I mean, they were funny dudes. I think the dudes that I was with, rugby guys are hilarious, and that was fun.
Yeah, I bet some rugby. They are.
Yeah, they're fucking wild. I enjoyed the shit out of it, but I was in northern England, which is like really dreary and nasty. It's like Buffalo, but worse with like no summer. I don't know. The food kind of sucked.
Yeah, I heard the food.
The food.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be comfortable. I wasn't supposed to like it. I was playing a nasty sport where it helped.
You're supposed to be mean all the time.
Yeah, I was fucking. Yeah, so no, it was. I didn't. I would go back just to say I'm going back and meet up with some of the lads and talk some shit. But yeah, overall, it's not that cool.
I got recruited to play rugby just for our local beer league team, and it's after I had quit playing hockey because of concussions.
Oh shit!
So I really wasn't looking to join another rough team, like sport. But I told my buddy I would go watch the game at least, and the game he had me watch that they were trying to recruit me to play for this team, he tore his ACL. I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, rugby's an insane game that we don't even understand. Like, that's where American football came from. That's like the bones of it. But we don't realize how tough these motherfuckers are. Like these guys, I was playing in a club league in England for a little bit where we had guys on the team that were like, they're in their 50s still playing, and they don't give it. There's no reason for them to play. They're not signing a big contract. They're not making it. They're they love the game so much. Yeah. And I'll never forget one game I was playing. There was a dude to my left, and the whole game I'm calling. It's a big support game, so you're lying the player to the left and the right the whole game. You need to be communicating, and the whole first quarter I'm calling to the left, and I'm not getting any support when they're breaking runs to the left, and then I look over, and the dude's ear is like halfway off.
Oh,
and I'm
my
like,
God.
well, that makes sense.
That explains
he
it.
didn't fucking hear what I was saying because his ear was hanging off.
What?
And dudes like that just stayed in the game. Like they didn't care. We had a guy break his orbital bone and he wouldn't leave the game. And we're just they're just tough beyond.
Yeah, dude, that
just
puts
part of their
like,
culture.
Our little beer league hockey to shake. Like I just saw a guy like get cut and he put some super glue on it, related to like that's about this.
It's crazy that at that level people are just like, I just love this so much and I'm a badass. I'm
gonna keep playing. Yeah.
I have found out that I am an absolute stud when I get a concussion though. Because I got concussion, stayed in the game, scored 3 goals. Don't remember any of it.
Don't remember any of them.
Hey.
Yeah.
I just had to concuss myself before every game, and I would have been in the league in no time. Yeah,
you Will Ferrell in old school did.
Yeah, just blacked out. I think as someone who was cut from D3 soccer by a liberal arts school, I don't think I'll ever have my ears hanging off for pickup soccer later on in life.
You went to liberal arts school?
Yeah, I went to a liberal arts school, but I studied communications, and I'm doing so much with it. Yeah. No, I studied TV production. Well, but, you know, that doesn't matter.
Well, I went to school for architecture and planning, and I'm a bartender in Nashville. So
Hey, Anthony DeVito went for architecture, and we're pretty sure that he is going to have a bridge collapse in Pennsylvania.
that's
So,
awesome.
you know, at least you were like, you know what? I don't want to hurt anybody.
Yeah. I'm a real cocktail architect now. You know what I mean?
There you go.
I bet you can make some mighty fine drinks though.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's your go-to drink? What's your like?
What's your signature
surprise?
cocktail?
What's one's like? Surprise me, bro.
Falling mimosa.
Ooh,
That's a Frank Lloyd Wright joke right there.
Oh,
because he did Falling Water in Pennsylvania. It's like his
Oh.
most famous work of art. And then
I've
said
been there,
Falling
yeah.
Mimosa. You've been there. Okay. The
Yeah.
joke wasn't good enough. I tried, but
I'm just not smart enough for it. I'm sorry.
So what is it? Just orange juice that you pour into the mimosa?
Falling Whiskey and Water. How about that?
There we
Is
go.
that better?
There we go.
Oh,
It's not a real drink. It's not a real drink. Yeah. I'm just making shit up. I
What?
don't have a good drink. I don't have my own drink. I just follow the recipes.
The people ordered. I give them the drink. What do you want?
I wasted energy.
So you did the sports thing, got you overseas a little bit. You come back to the States. What's next?
Ooh, I did do a trial run with the WWE. They flew me to Orlando to do a weekend there.
Did they have the performance center? Okay.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
that was insane.
Yeah. How awesome is that facility?
Oh, it was really cool. I think the whole thing that they put on is really neat. It's interesting how they're doing it nowadays though, because I don't know. I feel like they kind of want cookie cutter people. They kind of want you to fit in the mold. They have their writers there now. They have their development patterns and how they think that you should develop. And I don't know. It just, to me, it hasn't led to the greatest. I'm not trying to ruffle feathers, but
no, they haven't created a new star in a hot minute.
no,
So
that's what I felt like when I was there. And like, I was trying to be like a little bit more like my own thing. And I wasn't. A lot of the guys I was in the trial with they had been wrestling independently. They knew about the performance. So they knew exactly what these people wanted to hear. And I didn't. I fucked up massively. I didn't know who Gerald Briscoe was. And that was a big mistake because he was on the fucking elevator ride down on our first day. And it was just me and him. I walk in, I'm fucking dead tired. It's like 4:30 in the morning. They want you to get there at like 5. And I get on the elevator from the hotel and he's in the elevator. And I noticed him from our check-in. I was like, "Oh, hey, you were at the check-in yesterday." And he's like, "Oh, yeah." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You don't know who I am?" And I was like, "No." And I was like, "Who are you?" And he's like, "Oh, you'll find out."
Oh no!
and so
the next day they just like ran the shit out of me because I didn't know Joe Briscoe. I was like puking everywhere. It was hilarious.
and who is he? So,
he's like a wrestling Hall of Famer,
an old school
like
guy. He was like
brothers.
Vince's. He was like Vince's right hand man for a long time.
It's just like someone you gotta know. But I stopped watching wrestling. You know, I watched it a lot, and then I kind of, I grew up. I don't know what you want to say.
To be fair, I consider myself a huge wrestling fan, and I don't necessarily know him from his wrestling days. Right. I know him as his Vince McMahon stooge days. Like he was on.
Correct.
To be fair, like this dude's asking you know who I am, and he got paid a lot of money to get his ass kicked on TV on a regular basis.
Right.
As a 50 to 60-year-old man.
Yeah, so fuck him.
Right.
Hell yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
So you did the WWE thing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like that's just a cool thing to check off the life box, Like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, there was a minute that I was like, I'll develop a character and I'll do this if they're gonna fucking pay me. But then you realize that you have to do 10 years and like NXT. You have to drive to all your gigs. You have to basically you're a comedian that gets the shit beat out of them.
Yeah.
But they weren't like. It didn't seem like they were open to letting you develop yourself. It seemed like they wanted you to be very corporate and very like, we're going to tell you how to do everything. And I just was like, well, then what the fuck is the point of this? This is not what I want to do.
Not that I wish you would have become a wrestler but I wish you would have gone through it now that they got like Vince McMahon out of the way,
Oh yeah.
You not knowing who Briscoe is wouldn't be a big deal. nowadays.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
they'd actually give you a chance to,
Sure.
be a human being.
They basically said to me, they were like, you're not 6'8", you're not this giant human, you're not a freak of nature. I'm like, yeah, I get that. They're like, but we like you and we think you could maybe come. They said go and do the Dudley Boys School, or a wrestling school in Florida, in like Orlando, and then we'll give you another tryout, and then if there's a chance we could bring you on. But I just was like, at that point, I'm like, I'm fucking out of here.
Yeah, that's still cool to get a huge maybe.
Yeah,
you didn't get a no. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Did you think about a character? Like, who would you? What did you get that far in the process?
Yeah,
or you just like...
it's embarrassing though, dude. I'm not going to talk about it.
Oh well, we found the line of what
It's
we
so,
will.
like,
Is this like the principal on Happy or Billy Madison?
Dude,
it's
like
alter ego.
It's like, think of your worst joke that you ever wrote when you first started, and like that was what my character was. It's like I put like no thought into it because you have to come up with it quick.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'll just do this thing that kind of goes with my last name, and it just was. I did the whole. You have to do a promo. You have to do a minute promo in front of the whole class. They videotape it. You're in front of all the writers. Sometimes the bigger wrestlers will come in, and like Cesaro was there and shit. And like, you're just,
how big is he in real life?
They're all not as big as they build
nice
them
camera
as.
angles and stuff.
Yeah. Cesaro's like 5'9". No, I'm just fucking
I was like, what?
He's a big dude. They're all still big dudes, but like they jack them all up. But that's me. Like my dad, when I was a kid, he would always tell me and my friends that he beat up Hulk Hogan like twice, and we all believed him because
why not?
Yeah,
like what's your dad? You think he can beat up Hulk Hogan?
Yeah.
So for the timeline about like what year are we at right now? Like for the you're coming out of rugby and then WWE.
Those opportunities are happening like simultaneously. It's the classic thing that I do with my life, and I've done this a bunch. I get opportunities and I try and do them all instead of doing one good. I just try to fucking do them all. Because I'm like, I'm good. I can make. I'll do both. I'll play rugby and be in the WWE. And it's like, I'm so stupid to think that I could do shit like that. It's like something I'm working on, to be like, just do one thing really good for a little bit and then move on to something else. But it kind of happened with me in college too. I was on the track and field team, and I was playing football, and I was trying to study like architecture and planning, and those are all very demanding things. And I was like, I could do it. And it's like, yeah, you can, but you're not going to do it to the level.
Yeah, you're going to be spread pretty thin.
Like football was great, and I put an honest effort into that for 1 year that I played. But then, my track and field senior year suffered because I trained for football for like all those months and all that time, and my body was beat up. So I didn't have a great senior year comparatively to my junior year. And
what did you do in track and field?
I threw shot and disc.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. So
that's a whole technique in itself,
Oh yeah, it was the thing where my coach was like fucking furious that I was playing football. At first, it was hilarious because at first I called him and I was like, Coach, they're gonna finally let me play football. Like I've been begging them to play for like 2 years now, and they're finally gonna give me the chance. All I got to do is forfeit my scholarship, and I'll be a walk on and blah blah whatever. And he was like, all right, cool. Yeah. Like, I respect that. You got 1 year left. Like, why not? And he was all cool and calm. And then he hung up the phone. And then like 25 minutes later, I get the nastiest fucking text messages from my coach. Like, are you fucking kidding me? You're going to fucking, all the work we put in, all the risk I took on you. It was insane. He just went off on me.
Damn.
And, and then I went to his house and we talked, and I sat down and had coffee with him, and I just explained to him why I wanted to play. It was my last chance to maybe play football. And once I did that, he kind of understood a little, but he was still pissed. Like every time I didn't throw well, he was like, "Yep, see, should have been fucking here in the fall." Fucking idiot, But I think
coaches, dude.
Yeah, but he's a great man, and he did give me the opportunity to throw at the university when I was just a walk on. So he was a great dude. He is a great dude. But yeah, he was kind of right, in that scenario. Is like, you're gonna sacrifice some things. But I kind of always knew that I probably wasn't going to be an Olympic caliber shot put and discus thrower. Like most of the time, in order to do that, you have to just be European. That's just what has to happen. It's not impossible. as an American, but it is highly unlikely that it's like having an Asian American play football. It doesn't like, and it happens, but it's not very often because it's not their sport there. And it's like, that's fine.
Yeah, that's why we've sucked at soccer for so long.
Correct. And Americans don't start throwing shot put and discus when they're in middle school. Right. They don't do it when they're there's no young youth leagues for track and field really. But in Europe, that is their fucking thing, and that is what they focus on. And these kids are doing turns when they're like 6 and 7 years old, and then by the time they're grown adults, they're just way better than everyone. So
if I could completely go back and redo it, I would have started soccer at like 4.
Yeah,
and not played anything else.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't try to be the next baseball, great. Like at least try to get a scholarship to like a D1 school.
Sure. Yeah,
because baseball broke my heart. Hockey, you can't be a Southern hockey player. It just is what it is,
Right.
So,
we're still at that stage where sports are still growing and developing in regions that like don't have it. So like you're against,
I love it. I don't ever think to watch track and field or anything, but if you put the Olympics in front of it, I'm there.
Oh, dude, even the USA hockey, I was watching the female like a few years ago. That they were really good, and that was fun to watch. I know who Ryan Krauser is because I competed in the same like regions as him, and like a couple of my teammates like made it to like pretty far in the shot put. That's one thing. America, we are really good at shot put. Like men's, women's, we can compete on the national level. Disc, hammer, javelin, that's their fucking shit. They've just been doing it forever.
I mean, javelin was last time.
You don't think about it as a sport here until you get to high school, and you have that coach. It's like, hey, try this.
Yeah.
Well, I was just saying, like, like, when was the last time besides, like, I don't know, like, America's been around for 400 years. Everyone was already shooting guns, except for the natives. They were throwing spears. So, like, maybe what we're missing is, like, the next great American javeliner. What's the word?
Yeah. Jav thrower.
Jab thrower?
There's a word that I was gonna say, but I'm not gonna say it. But yeah, we're track and field's a crazy thing to have us try and do here because we already have track and field. That's not even the right name for that. It should just be called a lot of shit at once. Too many things at once that you're doing. That should be the name of track and field because it's too much. We already have a million sports in this country that we all do, and how the fuck are we going to do 17 more at once?
Right.
It's just so stupid. My friend got hit in the head with a discus one time in high school.
You didn't have the space.
There's too much going on, and he's not smart.
Yeah,
and
that's fair.
He walked now he's even less smart.
He walked across the discus sector and got smoked.
Oh, I can't imagine.
Dude, like he has a crater in his fucking forehead.
Is he doing?
He took it to the forehead.
Oh yeah, he's lucky to be alive. He's one of my great friends.
That's crazy.
I'm like,
dude.
Fuck, man.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh no! Happier note. So you come back.
Flash forward.
You do the open mic.
D's Country Lounge.
Yeah.
You got all this life experience under your belt. What brought you to Nashville in the first place?
One of my best friends in college, he moved down here to play music. He was like, we didn't move yet, but he was like, I visited Nashville a few times. I think it's great. He's like, I think you would like it. I'm like, okay. Basically, he's like, can you help me move? And I'm like, sure. Why the fuck not? But he was like, you're going to love it there. And I'm like, yeah, I'll help you. I had no problem helping him. He's a great friend of mine. And he was living in New York City for a while doing music. And he's like, Nashville's the next move for me. I'm like, hell yeah, dude. I'm all for it. I'm all for you chasing your fucking dreams. Cause he would support me chasing my dreams. Like we just always were close with that. And I came down, we spent like a week here, I think, just moving him in, helped him paint his room, do all that shit on Douglas Avenue in East Nash. And I liked it so much. I was like, at that point, I had the tryout for the WWE. I had done the trials for rugby. I had come back from England already. And I'm just like, fuck it. I'm not going to sit in Buffalo. People are offering me sales jobs in Buffalo, or I could do this in Buffalo or that, but I could use my degree. And I'm just like, I don't want to sit in Buffalo and just
Yeah.
B. I'm like, I still have, you don't go from fucking signing an NFL contract to playing rugby in Europe to trying out for the WWE to fucking we're doing sales or sell, like I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna just be like selling houses. I'm not gonna go up. I could use maybe I could have used my fucking character from WWE to try and sell houses or something.
I was going to say you could, if
like
you didn't open a
cars.
used car dealership,
Yeah.
it's nothing. Then,
yeah. I'm just putting people through fucking old cars.
With a big old hammer.
Yeah. Just like,
come on down.
I don't know. Yeah. So then I moved. I saved some money up and I moved 3 months after that. I moved down to Nashville. So it was 2017, I believe.
Okay.
Well, what I was going to say, not to jump too far ahead, is, because I've done the road with both of you in separate ways. And I like doing the road with Drew because Drew balances out the insanity that runs through my veins. But I like doing the road with Corey because you have a very natural competitiveness in that the way you approach comedy is like you aspire to get better with every set. I'm not saying you don't, Drew. You obviously do as well. But just it's really fun watching. It's fun watching Corey on the road because I can see each set. You're like, all right, where do I move this, or how do I make this a little bit better? And you approach it with a very just a competitive nature to it, and I've always appreciated that about you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I've been. That's one thing that I'm even struggling with now is I feel like even when I do something, I make the right move in a set, or I figure out a connection, it still doesn't feel. Is it ever going to feel good? Is it ever going to feel like you have something solid? And I don't. I feel at one of my not lowest, but I feel it's good though because I know that I have a long way to go in a lot of the stuff. So I'm like, I should feel that way. I shouldn't feel like I got it all figured out. I'm going to be fucking great. It's like, no, it's a forever, pursuit. And even if you make all the right moves and do it all the right way, it might not fucking work out how you want it. So just keep being real. That's what I'm trying to do is get more to the closer of truth in a lot of the stuff and just be better. Yeah. I don't fucking know. There should be a balance of you taking your real life experiences and then also what you see that's happening in the world and commenting on it. And it should be a nice blend of that. I think those are the most fun comedians that can actually keep an audience. It's not too much of one thing and it's not too much of the other. Yeah. I think that's really what I'm trying to do every time I write a set or I'm like trying to figure out where to go. I'm like, have a little balance of both so the audience isn't fucking bored or bummed out. I feel like I've been bumming audiences out lately. I'm like, I'm talking about some crazy shit and they're like, yo, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta talk about Kanye or something. I don't know. I gotta talk about something pop culture that doesn't mean anything and make a stupid joke about it, and then people will go, balance it out. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
What? So you did the open mic. Did you fall in love with it immediately, or was it a process in making stand up, or you're like, I'm definitely gonna jump into this?
Oh, I loved it. Yeah, no, I was fucking hooked immediately. I was like, this is the best feeling ever. And it's the same story that everyone has when they have a great set or good set their first set is that I thought I was, fucking genius. I'm like, I'm clearly George Carlin. And
I was made to do this.
They just don't know it, but they will find out. And I will write a whole new 5 minutes for the next open mic that they suggested I go to tomorrow. And I'm going to go home and do that, which was the East Room. And which is a huge stage and is totally different than Dee's Country Cocktail Lounge. And there's a built-in audience there, and there's some people that know good comedy and know bad comedy. And I went up there and tried to do 5 new minutes, and I did not get a fucking laugh. It was so embarrassing. And I have the recording, and I listen to it sometimes because it makes me feel good. Not good, like good, but like,
where you came from.
Yeah, I'm don't get too ahead of yourself. This wasn't too long ago, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's
so. Fun. So, what was the first couple of months in Nashville? Just hitting the mics, working on your writing. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, I think it was just figuring out where to go, what room. I mean, I was like, I approached it like sports. I think I was like, I was never like naturally good at. A lot of people don't know it. They think, oh, you're just a taller, athletic looking guy. You must have just been great. And it's like, no, I had to work really hard to be good at any sport I ever played. I didn't really have it naturally. Even basketball, I had to work. I got cut from 7th grade, 8th grade, and 9th grade basketball. And then I ended up playing for the next 3 years and did well. But like, only because I went to the park after every time I got cut. I went to the park by myself. Yeah.
Oh, I
Played
was just
7th and
never
8th
good at
grade.
basketball.
I could shoot.
Yeah.
That's all I could do
No,
is shoot.
no,
But I mean,
dude.
I was in my backyard every day shooting. You know,
No,
That's-
nothing. No, not this guy.
Yeah. That's
couldn't
what
play
you
defense, couldn't pass, couldn't dribble. Just shoot.
that's what you have to do when you recognize maybe you don't have a natural ability. And I didn't think I have some size and genetic, whatever that is, which is good, but I had to work really hard to be good at sports. And I felt like I had to take that into comedy too, to be like, well, if you're going to make something out of this, you're going to have to outwork people and be fucking good and think different and go to every fucking open mic. And I still try to do that. And I did then too. I mean, no one went to fucking Twin Kegs 2 back in the day. Like a handful of people would make the trip over because it was so bad. It was just you're sitting there and there's 3 people kind of chuckling and they're comics and everyone's kind of drunk and it's a really bad play. And there was this dude Sandman that would be there and he was fucking wild. And
that was the first show I ever did in Nashville.
Yeah,
the free funnies on Friday.
Yeah, well, that was the good one. I mean, the original open mic there. It was.
I can't imagine the open
bad.
mic. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would go to that, and if you would get a chuckle there, if you would get one of the comics to go, you'd have a little bit of a thing you could take. Yeah. So, yeah, that was basically how I got started, and just fucking kept grinding, and that's what I'm still doing.
What was the first thing that happened to you that you're like, oh, this is nice? Like, was your name on a poster? Like, you got a show you were striving for? Like, what was the first good thing that you got to check off the old goal list?
Well, I think the funny thing about Nashville is it's a great place to start doing comedy, but I think that the bar is low in some places. That after that first D's mic that I did, there was this guy that was running a show at Fat Bites. And he was like, "Hey man, I really like that set. Do you want to come and do?"
Fat Bites?
Yeah, he would do like a free show, and it would get like decent amount of people to come out to it. And he was like, "I really like that. Do you want to come and be on my show like in a couple weeks?" And I was like, "I don't fucking know. Yeah, sure. Yeah, great." I had no idea.
Yeah,
and I did a spot on that show, and it was okay. I did at that point I had realized that I need to go back and do that original set and work on it, and I did over the next 2 weeks, and I did okay at the Fat Bite show. And I mean, that's
a great stage. Like, I've definitely been in there. Yeah. Like, they should do more stuff here.
Where is it at? I haven't been there.
It's in Donaldson.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a neat food. It's a neat place. Fantastic. Great food. Yeah. And then I think doing Zanies for the first time is a memory that I'll never forget, because they were still doing the competition shows, and it was I mean, it was packed house that night, and I was feeling good, and that feeling, I think and don't tell anyone, I cried on the way home because I was like so fucking happy that I did good at a show, and like things were going the right way. I was like, I'm fucking catching some breaks, and I'm 7 months into comedy. I'm like, I have no fucking idea what's going on.
What's about to happen? Yeah,
that stage messes with you, man. Because the first time I got to do Zanies, I was way past the get nervous before a show stage, and I was like fine, and then my hand reached for that knob, and I was like,
oh yeah,
no,
this is different.
See, like, I got knots in my stomach now. This is weird.
Yeah.
See, I got like inadvertently lucky because they messed up my date. So I was just
you didn't even have a chance to think about it.
I was like licking my wounds because I got some bad news from back in New York, and I was just like, what is this all? Like, I was having that like, should I just quit? Like, am I done? Like, I was having one of those days, and then I just happened to see on Instagram my name on a flyer, and I'm like, what? And then Lucy's like, oh my God, you got to get here. So like, I walked in and I didn't even have a second to like think about what I was doing.
That's probably for the best, to be honest.
Oh yeah. Again, huge memory. So I completely understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Sometimes that's good when you're not overthinking it, when you don't have all the time to sit there and think, well, should I do this joke or that? I think about that all the time, where like, I only had fucking 3 minutes maybe. And I'm stretching. I'm not stretching. I have my 7 to 8 minutes, but the rest of the people on the show were people that have been doing stand up for a while. So they're kind of figuring out like, what should I do tonight? And I'm just like, I don't have anything.
I got plan
but
A.
I have
plan
one
A.
plan.
and I'm gonna
yeah.
do that shit to the best of my ability and try and act like an asshole and be fucking, energy. And that's what the crowd liked. But it was, I don't know. I think there's something to that where you're like, you've almost got nothing to lose. And these other,
Right.
I've been in that situation where I'm like, oh fuck, I better not say this or do that, or I could. This crowd seems like they want this. It's like, no, just fucking do
you
what you're gonna
overanalyze
do.
it. Yeah.
Paralysis by analysis. That's what my coach from track and field used to say. You're thinking too much before you throw the discus. Just fucking, you've practiced all week. Just go and throw it.
Muscle memory.
So who's around the scene at this time? I mean, this is like 2017, 2018.
It's good. It's like the crew that kind of, a lot of people that had moved out to LA before the pandemic were here. Obviously, Laura was here. Carter Glasscock was here. Holly Perkins was just about coming into town. Who else? Matt Boyd was still here, obviously. I'm trying to think of other people that moved out. That was basically it. And then Benton was still here. Yeah, it was a good crew of like younger comedians, like kind of
they wanted
running
to
all
go
the shows. They were working the shows and they could, it felt more connected, I think.
More of a community.
It just could be that I'm doing my own thing, so I don't feel that as much as probably what it is. But there
was also Well, there's also been like a big influx of, I mean, since I've moved here, I was at a mic.
Yeah, you got us assholes that moved here for comedy, Look at us messing everything up.
Well, like I took a couple weeks off and then I went to Third Coast, and I'm not even exaggerating. Like I only knew like 3 or 4 comics there that night. I didn't recognize. So, and I was like, all right, that's like what happened in 3 weeks. So I can't imagine being here in like 2018 and then seeing what the scene is now, where it's just like every week there's 5, 6 new comics, So I can understand what you're saying, and that like the connectiveness,
But, I think, the pandemic definitely fucking shifted things around and changed a lot for all of us. But before that, we did kind of have like a little bit of a tighter scene. And I think, but I think it's good now that it's changed it in some ways. It's opened up new venues and new opportunities. And then it's never a bad thing to I mean, it is kind of, when you think about it, like, oh, well, it's fucking people coming out to do stand up, but it kind of means that
more of a spotlight on us.
Yeah, more of a spotlight, but it means that comedy's popular and people want to try it. So I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily. I think it weeds itself out, and certain people will be doing it and won't be doing it in this amount of time. So
So you came out of the pandemic and kind of reset your mindset a little bit and went more, let me get on the road, let me get out there. So how did that come to be? Well,
I think I just realized that, though we had 2 clubs. Well, Third Coast is definitely a club, but it's definitely more of an improv club, obviously. But it seemed like the more I was doing shows outside of town and getting to different cities that had a little bit more meat to the scene, I was like, this is interesting. And I want to kind of get to doing those a little bit more and see if that helps me get better. And then I did a handful of road runs where I was just doing breweries and wineries, and I was doing longer sets, and I was uncomfortable. I didn't have the time. I still probably don't have as much, but it makes you work the crowd a little bit more, and it makes you be okay with feeling uncomfortable up there. And I really felt like when I did those runs and then came back and had an opportunity at the club at Zany's or Third Coast, I was better. I just was better. Yeah. And I felt more comfortable up there. I felt more myself up there. I was responding to audience members. I was having better sets. I had some new joke ideas. So I was like, there's value in going, even if it's on a smaller scale, to do brewery and winery shows or getting booked in different towns if you can. Yeah, I really liked that. So I kept doing that. And basically that was my whole plan for filming the little thing that I did in Bristol, was like, I was
gonna say, you made that connection early on. Like, kudos to you for seeing a new club and its potential and being like, let me make that relationship work.
Well, Will saw that Sean posted about, needing a feature act for Emma Willman. And he was like, yo, send it. I'm telling people to send it. And, I sent him the Nashville Comedy Festival tape from I think 2019, and I had a pretty good set. I had to follow Pat McGann. He was very funny, but I sent that over, and Sean liked it, and he's like, "Yeah, come do the feature." And that went
Yeah.
well with Emma, and she was really cool. And nothing came out of that. Like I was like, if you ever need anyone, she's like, oh yeah, but she's got a billion people. She's been doing comedy forever. I know that. Yeah, Sean liked me enough that when I asked him to come back and film something, he's like, I think that'd be great. So
Yeah, I feel like
it's
you guys
awesome.
developed like a pretty instant relationship because I think you did it twice and then you went back and you
I did, yeah.
recorded, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I hit him up and I was like, "You got anything?" And he's like, "Yeah, John Baglio's coming in, recording an album." He's like, "I think you'd
Yeah.
be a good feature for him because he's got some sports stories, but he's not like too crazy with that stuff." And he's like, "I think
Yeah. Yeah.
you'll warm up the audience." And yeah, John recorded his album and kind of did a diss to me in one of the jokes about being from Buffalo, and that was pretty cool. So yeah,
Yeah.
This is a
I worked.
Boston comic. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean's a great dude, and everyone he books there is solid. And yeah, I mean, just building relationships with people all over is really the point, and being connecting with the people that connect with you. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that only helps you. It's not like, I don't know, it's not like being. I'm always worried about hitting people up about spots or asking, but it's like if you're working hard, they're noticing it, and you should. But I just know I wanted to be ready for stuff before I was
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm
over
at
the
a point now where I just like I feel so comfortable with the product I have on stage. I'm just asking for an opportunity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know? Like, let me just see. And maybe
Yeah.
I'm not the right fit for your room. Maybe I'm not going to work out for what you're putting out, but just give me a chance.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like so when I was like in terms of like asking to do spots and that kind of stuff, like in New York, you had to kind of approach it because there's a million shows and there's a billion comics, you know, so you had to sort of approach it like pursuing a job where it's like, well, if you don't send your resume in, people don't know you want that job, you know, so you were just constantly spending time. Can I do your show? Can I do your show? Can I do your show? And you know, whatever. And then here, because it's such a smaller scene, for the longest time, I was like, well, they'll just ask me to do it, you know. But then then you kind of go, actually, maybe they don't know. Maybe they don't know. So I've more recently started asking to do shows again. And it's like, yeah, there's you like, how else would people know that you want to do the show? You know?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to be it's one thing that like I've been watching some like older comedy stuff, and some of these people are like, yeah, you have to be like annoying. Like they're like, we were forced to be annoying to get stage time. And like, you kind of do
Yeah.
have to be that. But then you
Yeah.
see someone who's like psychotically annoying, and you see like someone
There's
who
a
like,
way to do it for sure.
that's where I'm always like, don't be that fucking guy, but
Right.
also be a little crazy and let them know that you're working hard and
Yeah.
that you want the fucking chance. But I think at the end of the day, working when no one's where the places where no one's really seeing it anyways, that's what really makes you better. And that's the same in
Sure.
sports. Like I never had to tell everyone I was going to the fucking park to shoot. I never tell anyone I was going to the gym after hours. I just fucking went and did it. And that's kind of what I want to do with like the open mics, with the road runs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's like you gotta let people know you're working, but also I'm getting better. If you're on the road, you're getting better.
So yeah,
Yeah.
we mentioned it a little bit. What did you record at Blue Ridge?
Yeah, so basically, I recorded 55 minutes of dick jokes.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's the title of the special. It's going to be My Life in Dicks.
Oh, they're gonna say it's 55 minutes of dick jokes. I would listen to that
Plus-
album. I'd be like,
Yeah, no, I don't know. It was more like like I'm trying to say. I know I've got a long way to go and all this, so I
Mhm.
think it was just a way to challenge myself to start to think about how I could actually hold an audience for that amount of time while also having some bits that have a little bit more than just a misdirection, or a little bit more than just a, how you said a funny word, like get a little
Sure.
bit closer to
Yeah.
truth and a little bit closer to like, and it did that. It pushed my bits, some of the ends of my bits into connecting to other things and then calling back and like all that stuff that you don't get on a 10-minute set or a showcase
Yeah.
set
You
all
get
the
to stretch your
time.
legs.
Yeah, you get to figure that out. And it even helped me develop some like crowd work bits that I was like, oh, these are useful. These are tools. So it was more or less that, like an investigation of like, okay, I've been doing this for a little bit. What can I really do? Let's record it. And if it's decent, maybe string it together and release a half hour of it if it can be tied together. And then if not, clip it out and put it out.
I mean,
as
content's
reels.
king.
Yeah, that's where the place where I severely lack. I'm very bad at getting content and posting it. I don't want to be a slave to the algorithm. That's not not my goal. Yeah, I'm trying to do the thing where I'm just working hard in the shadows, and hopefully eventually I'll have enough content to get something going. But that might be what I do with it. But I had a lot of fun. We shot 3 shows in Bristol. The crowds weren't huge, but there was enough people every show that we had fun. I had a fucking great time every show.
Did you do audio and video?
Oh yeah, we did everything. Yeah. So awesome. I've watched all 3 of them. They're all good. I think they're all fun in their own way. Some parts aren't great, and they're like, whatever, But it will be edited into like I think a fun 35-40 minutes, maybe probably 30, where I could just
that's really how people want nowadays anyway. No one wants that hour. Like I hear people talk about they have to split up hours now, but I watched half of it on Tuesday.
I don't have I would feel even weird putting the 30 out, because I'm like, these are just my initial bits and jokes, and these are things that are a good starting point, I think, in comedy. But I know I got a fucking ways to go, man.
That's still cool it's a nice gauge to see where you're at.
Yeah, it's good to have a product. Yeah, it's great to have a product.
And the shows leading up to that were like, I did 14 shows in 17 days. Like they were brewery and winery shows, but I was fucking going. I was rewriting, tweaking, moving things. So it was like just a mini way of being like, this is how this is going to work. If you want to do this for the rest of your life, this is how you'll have to kind of operate. And it was daunting, man. It was fucking a lot. But like by the end of it, I was like, I did something. I fucking made something. I created something. I wasn't sitting there chasing an algorithm on a fucking phone. I was like, I needed to fucking get away and work and be a degenerate comedian on the road for fucking a month. And that's basically what I was. And I was living in it. I was immersed in it, and it was fun. And I want to do it again, and I will, hopefully forever. So that's the plan.
And now your car will never be the same.
Oh yeah, dude, my car's completely fucked. That's why I can't go on the road right now. I'm like, I have so much work to put into that fucking thing.
It's crazy when you get out there and you're like, oh no, this isn't gonna work.
No,
when I first started hitting the road, I had a very, very old Kia Sportage, the old their SUVs that were the size of like a Honda like CRV, and I was like, this isn't like blew a head gasket, had to pay them towed just to sell it for parts.
Kia's not the road vehicle. I don't think they're not. It's not
the new Kias are.
The first generation Kias, they're fucking.
They were 100,000 mile cars. Yeah, they were 100,000 miles. You throw them away. Done deal.
Yeah.
Push the camera, preaching to the choir. Yeah, preaching to the choir.
It's just enough. Hey, I mean, look, you can only do so many 12-hour days before your car just goes, I'm a 2005 Camry. What is wrong with you? And now I'm seeing the repercussions of that. But I'll get back out. I'll get a car one day. I'll get another car.
So how's 2022 closing and 2023 starting for Corey Knox?
It's closing weird as fuck. There's a lot of personal shit, but overall, comedy wise, I think I'm trying to just get to start thinking differently. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited about having my initial stuff that I've done and just kind of move past that and fucking get weirdly creative and start thinking in different ways. So I am excited about that. I've got some local shows lined up which are cool. I'm gonna put another road run together in early January or late January. And then I'm going to start getting out to the cities I haven't been to. I'm going to get out to, I think, Denver,
please go
Boulder.
To
Denver. Denver's the best.
I'm going to do LA again, cause that was a lot of fun. Yeah. I'm just going to keep doing what I was doing, just try to get better at what I was doing. And then simultaneously release more content and figure out how to start to get the internet side of it going, and
we still got to revisit our sports show we talked about. I think that would be great.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean,
fun.
stuff like that is where I'm like, well, what are you missing? It's like, well, yeah, you don't have a second thing that you do, just all stand up right now. And I am. I don't post videos on fucking. I don't. It's just not what I want to do. I want to write and perform. And if I'm on a podcast, I'm on a podcast. If I have a podcast, I'll do a podcast. But I don't know. There's just something about that, like having that need to post and be fucking hit the thing that is so stressful that I don't want to live that way. I would rather have a slow growth than an immediate blow up because I post
no doubt
weird shit.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see the comics on the road that took that path, that built up their audience over 12, 15 years. And it's that deeper love from their fans than someone that just happened overnight. Like, I love when I'm with a headliner and someone comes up and be like, I've listened to you since 2011.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's real. That's real shit.
That's what I'm going for.
Yeah. We got to go for the real shit.
Yeah. And the content shows it. The content shows the difference between trying to build from the ground up and create a good stand-up set versus like, oh, I went viral last night and now I have to do an hour.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, like I stress about it and I number watch most days, but I truly enjoy doing the content. Well, Corey, where can they follow you online and see that content you're gonna be putting up?
Yeah, just on my fucking miserable Instagram page. I don't even know what I'm doing. It's bad. It's Knox50C or just at Corey Knox on Instagram. That's where I post all my shit. I'm a psychopath on Twitter. I don't know how to use that either.
The good thing is it's the Wild West now, so
no one does anymore.
I know. Yeah, I'm so like, I know that there's a language to Twitter that I don't fully understand, and I don't know. Who fucking cares?
Like, I haven't figured out that algorithm to get people to follow me, but I have figured out the algorithm that I only see things I want to see on it. So I do appreciate that about Twitter, where Twitter's not a downer place for me. It's like, oh, I get to learn about, what the Panthers are messing up this week.
Sure. It is big for stuff like that. But that's basically it. That's check out. I'll have my fucking stuff clipped up within the next few weeks, and we're gonna start posting it. And I've got some decent stuff. It was fun. I don't know. They might be good bits. They might be bad bits. Who the fuck knows? But I'm not going to let I will be sad if they don't go decent on
That's
Reels.
Fair. Yeah. But we can try to tell ourselves all the time, like, I don't care.
I'm like, I don't care. But I'm just going to post them because that work. You know what? Whatever. Who cares if people don't like them? Comedy's subjective. Who the fuck cares? I'm going to be crying. I'm going to be fucking devastated. But
I hear you, bro.
But especially because I paid a good amount of money to get them recorded, and I worked really hard at them for years. So but we'll fucking see, man.
I'll reshare them.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Same.
That's the one thing that I keep reminding myself too. We've all navigated this comedy scene and like what's happening. And like, I think one of the hardest times to do comedy, people will argue that and they'll say like, oh, it's the easiest. It's one of the easiest times. You could just be discovered overnight. Yeah. Rarely does that happen. And
also, how much work did you put in to get discovered overnight?
Correct. Right. And it's like, no, it's hard. Things are constantly changing right now. You have to be, every fucking app and platform is different, and you have to post at different times in different ways. You have to be a graphic designer, for Christ's sakes, and a comedian, and
video editor.
I'm not fucking lazy, but Jesus Christ, it's taking away from us being able to develop as comedians because we're having to do all this other shit. It kind of feels like how jobs are nowadays. You get hired in an office job, and you're the accountant, sales rep, and fucking head of marketing for what you're. It's like, what? I worked at freight logistics, and I had to I hadn't written a fucking email in 10 years, since college, and I get this fucking job because I know I could do it. And they're like, oh yeah, you have to do accounting, you have to run your own marketing page, you have to be on LinkedIn, you have to do all this shit. And I'm just like, I thought I was going to fucking sell freight and just then send it and I get the money. And they're like, oh no, you have to do everything. I'm like, fuck this. I'm out, dude.
Yeah. So, no, thank you. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Corey, thank you so much, man. I'm looking forward to the clips.
I like the last part. We keep all that.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah. Will likes that.
Yeah.
What'd you like about it, Will?
I was like, I don't know anything that's going on.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I need to work again.
yeah, yeah. Get a job, motherfucker.
Get a job.
I appreciate you guys having me. This was
Yeah,
fun,
dude.
and
Thank you so much, man.
yeah, I'll see you guys around,
Yeah, dude. Hit me up. I want to go. I want to go to LA with you. That sounds fun.
dude. That would be sick.
Yeah, let's
I'm
do it.
down.
Cool, man.
Hell yeah.
Well, y'all follow Corey. Check out his clips coming out. Hit that subscribe button. Check out all the great Project Nerd content, and we will see you next time.
On that friend, my boy.